Hey everyone, it's Diana and welcome back to my channel. It is back to school season. I don't know how we feel about it, but let's just accept it and let's gain some knowledge from this video. I'm going to be doing lots of talking, so I'm just gonna get straight to the point. If you're new here, subscribe if you want to, and put the post notifications on. Like the video to support my channel, and comment down below any further suggestions for videos you want to see. And in today's video, I will be telling you how to survive the IB. I have my notes jotted down of what I'm going to be talking about, and I will also have timestamps of the different topics and sections I'm going to be talking about, just in case you want to be directed in one way or another. So those will be in the description down below as well as in the comment section, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. This video is to help out these incoming juniors like my sister that are going into the IB. At least in my school, it's 2 years, junior and senior year. Or even if you're an incoming senior, honestly, this could still help because it talks about all the things you need to do. Or if you're a sophomore, freshman, or whatever, and you're deciding if you even want to do IB, hopefully this video doesn't stress you out too much. Just in case you guys won't stay for the whole video, but I really hope that you do. I just want you to take away one thing from this, and I know everything I'm about to say is gonna sound really stressful, really just go, and like kind of impossible. As cheesy it is, you can literally do anything you put your mind to. As long as you're driven and you have the motivation and this is something you actually really want to do, you can do it. Don't stress yourself out too much because that's not gonna help you. And I know everyone gets stressed, but just try to relax and just make the most out of these 2 years because high school literally goes by so fast. And if you guys want a high school advice video, I will have it in the card, so you can press that and watch some advice. But this will be designated to the IB program. So you're wondering what even is IB? Well, here is the full rundown. IB stands for International Baccalaureate. I still don't know how to spell it, so for an actual definition, the program encourages both personal and academic achievement, challenging students to excel in their studies and in their personal development. And in short, hell. Just kidding. You can do it. So generally, you're going to be taking 3 standard level classes, SL, and 3 higher level classes, HL. Some people decide to do 4 HL and 2 SL, but the most common thing is 3 of each. You're also going to be testing in each of those classes at the end of the year in May. It depends when the test is. Like for Math SL, I tested at the end of the year for that. But for my Physics SL and for my French SL, I tested in 2 years. So that really depends on that. In each of these classes, for when you test, there's 7 points max. And 7 points is like genius level, like you really got that knowledge and nailed down. And 1 is you really did not show up, and why did you take the class? Or you just don't care about passing. The IB in total is 45 points. It's, I think, like less than 1% of the IB population even gets 45 points, so don't even feel pressured of getting the perfect score because it really does not matter. So in those 45 points, you get your 6 classes with 7 points max. And I think on average it's like a 4 or 5 points. So there's your classes. And then there's the EE, the dreaded EE. The EE is an extended essay which is 4,000 words long. That sounds really daunting, but if you're writing about something you're passionate about and something that's not too complicated, it gets itself done. As well as you manage your time, but I'll be talking more in depth about the EE later. Then there's TOK, which is Theory of Knowledge, which is basically psychology, but not really. It's like psychology that's more like, what? Your final grade in TOK consists of a 1,600 word paper, 30-minute presentation, or 20-minute depending on how many partners you have. For the paper, you're graded out of 10 points. For the presentation, you're graded out of 10 points. Then is accumulated a letter grade, which goes into your IB score. I think for your EE, if you get an A, you get 2 extra points. If you get a B, you get 1 extra point. For your TOK, if you get an A, you get 1 extra point, and a B, you don't get anything. I think. You can look that up. So that's all the points out of 45, but you also have to complete CAS, which is creativity, activity, and service hours. You need 150 hours in total, which is 50 hours of each, creativity, activity, and service. And then you also have to have a 35-hour CAS project, which those 35 hours are not extra. They're involved in your 150 hours. So keep that in mind. So I will be going in depth of each of those things starting now. First topic is classes in general. One, when you're picking out your classes, try to choose something that you're probably interested in going into the field in your future. If you don't know, don't stress yourself out too much. But I knew I wanted to do something in business, so I chose to do IB Business Management, and I tested HL in that. At the time, I also wanted to maybe do engineering or something like that, so I also chose physics as my science, and that was a hard class. And indeed, I am not going into engineering because I would not do well. So for each of these classes, you are going to test out of them. So you're going to test in your SL and in your HL, and honestly it's like higher level, standard level, but they're all kind of the same amount of hardness, like difficulty. And my advice for these tests is go back to practice tests, meaning like past tests in all the years, and just do them and time yourself and then grade yourself and then just see what you have to work on from there. It's probably the only way. I think that is actually the right way to study. Of course, you got to review your past knowledge, especially if it's a 2-year class, which is most of them. You gotta know your junior and senior level stuff. Do not lose your notes from junior year because you will hate yourself when you're testing senior year. And for each of these classes, there's an IA except for your language class. And then for your language class, which I did French, there's an oral. For your language class, actually learn it. Do not BS that, because it'll come time for your test in your oral and you're not gonna know how to speak without using Google Translate. And of course, like, use a translator, but do not depend on your translator because you will just not know how to speak the language at all. So use it as a tool, but don't use it as your entire knowledge. And for studying for these classes in general and just like regular tests, find an organization method and study method that works for you, whether that's working in increments of 25 minutes at a time, 5-minute break, or just studying a little bit for a week up until that test. That really helps because you actually get the knowledge in your brain rather than cramming it all the day before, which is something we're all guilty of. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is CAS. And CAS is probably, I say, the easiest part of IB, but that's just me because I kind of barely had to do anything for CAS. I mean, I did do a lot for CAS, but the thing is, I was already doing those stuff. So let me explain. 50-hour creativity, 50-hour service, 50-hour activity you have to do. I did a lot of activities, so I think I had over like 400 hours of activity. I didn't log all that, but so activity is really easy for me to knock it out of the park. Creativity, I was also pretty easy. It's really easy for music students because you're practicing. And I really just got involved with my school's homecoming preparation because we had to paint lots of posters and stuff like that. So that's a really easy one to knock out your creativity with. I also choreographed dances for cheer and like the dances we did for that, so that was also some of my creativity. And then for my service hours, it was basically my entire CAS project. My CAS project was from cheer because I coached a unified cheer team, which was for kids with special needs to do cheer. So it was their whole program, and we just coached them and taught them things and choreographed things. So my CAS project was service hours, activity, and creativity, but you only need 2 of each for your CAS project. But my advice is just take what you're already doing and just make it a project. Like, you can literally do that with anything. So CAS wasn't that difficult for me, but for some people who don't really do anything outside of school, it is difficult, but take it as an opportunity to try something new, to get yourself involved with the school. That's really what those hours are for, is to get you to do stuff outside of just studying. Also for your CAS, you have to write reflections. So basically it's like proof that you did it. So my advice is take pictures of what you're doing, like the posters I made. I took videos of my cheer performances and practice and stuff like that. And that's a really easy way to do reflections. And then you just, honestly, you can write about your practice that day or just about your season in general. Oh, my sister just came home. She's wearing my new sweatshirt. But as an incoming, yes. As an incoming IB junior, what question do you have?
How do I cheat without getting caught?
No.
Kidding, cut that out.
Don't cheat.
Nope.
Don't cheat. She was kidding. Don't cheat because IB takes that so seriously and you will get kicked out if you try to cheat. So do not do that. What's an actual question you have? Just anything.
You probably already answered everything.
No, just an actual person. What? You just started IB. What are you worried about, or like any advice?
I don't know. I don't really care that much. I'm serious, it's just school.
Yeah, but
what?
Do you have any questions?
Why didn't you
what?
iron it?
It's not wrinkly.
Stand up. Well, it doesn't look wrinkled because it's tie-dye, but it is.
Okay. Well, you don't have any questions? Well, that was a flop.
Look at our
Get out of here. A random rule is that if you don't pass your EE or your TOK, shh, we're gonna get copyrighted.
Yeah, because this sounds just like the real thing.
If you don't pass your TOK or your EE, you need to get at least a D on those. Even if you have 35 points, even if you have 45 out of, 42 out of 45 points, but you get an F on your EE, you don't pass.
What the?
And none of it counts. So.
Ah, that hurt my head.
Yerba mate. Let me continue, please. Also, if you have troubles getting service hours, and I feel like that's the most difficult one. I also, for service, I helped raise money for cancer research, and I just went out during the summer with some friends and got donations for it. And that was, I really didn't need those hours, but I just did it anyways. I think I did it for college apps as well. Another tip for Cass is do not overdo your project. At first, I was going to make a marathon to raise for cancer research and stuff like that. And I was just reaching it. Like, we were not gonna do that. It's way too complicated. Just pick something simple that'll get the job done. Next is the dreaded EE, which is your extended essay, which is 4,000 words, which, like I said, seems very daunting, but it wasn't that hard. Maybe that's controversial, but it was not that hard. I did, and I do not recommend this, I did write it and redid it in 2 days before the deadline. I did in fact hate myself at the time, but I did get a B, and that's, I think, a pretty good score. So I don't know how I did that, but I really don't recommend doing that. So instead, the summer before your senior year, some weeks out of the summer, just write a couple hours every week and write a little at a time. Don't stress yourself out too much. And by the time senior year rolls around, you have something to turn into your mentor, which, speaking of which, pick a good mentor. I regret that. Pick a good mentor. Do not settle. Mentors help. And I think I would have gotten an A if I actually got a good mentor. Maybe a full, I also didn't write it 2 days before, but also for your EE, you get to pick which subject in it is in, and I think it's a fact that English is the easiest one. So my recommendation is, if you don't know what to do, just pick English, write about a book. It's like a long book report. Don't take my word for it, but that's what I did. And I mean, also another thing is take your drafts seriously, like your rough draft, even your planning and your research. Just do all of that really seriously, and then when you come to the time to actually write the full thing, it's gonna be so easy. It's gonna be a breeze. It wasn't for me because that's not what I did, and so I'm telling you to actually try on your drafts. Do not BS them. I did get away with it, but I cried. And if you can, write about something you enjoy. I wrote about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I wrote about Willy Wonka. Did I learn anything out of it? A little. Not really. I probably would have, if I could go back, I'd pick something way more interesting because I bored myself a lot. I feel like I'm being so harsh, but this is coming from a completely realistic procrastinator level average student. And the next thing is IAs, which are independent assessments. You do these for each of your classes except for your foreign language, which in replacement is the oral, like I talked about. And my advice for the IA is literally annoy the heck out of your teacher with questions. Just ask for everything, because they've graded 1 million of them. They've looked at 1 million. They know exactly what gets a 7 or 6. They know exactly what that looks like. Yours doesn't look like that. They're gonna tell you on what to fix. I mean, you're gonna do it, but just ask away. Like, ask about every single little thing on the rubric. go over the rubric and check off every single one of them. And if you do have every single thing on there, I guarantee you, you will get a good grade. So take your IA seriously, because I mean, you
never know what's gonna happen.
You never know what's gonna happen. Like, a pandemic's gonna happen and none of your tests are going to actually take place. So you're only graded on your IAs or something like that. Completely hypothetical. But it turned out for my year, because my tests didn't actually happen, except for my math test, which I tested in junior year. But for my senior year, I didn't take those other 5 tests. But guess what it was graded on? My IAs. And I see the IAs as the only thing I have actual control over and just can revise and ask questions for. So I took them really seriously, because I just knew I'm not a good tester and I get really stressed and I wouldn't do as well in them. So I was like, my eyes will make up for it. And it turned out that was my entire grade. I think that's the only reason I did really well. Also, for your IA, don't do something too complicated, but also not too basic. Find the common ground. Because if you do something too basic, the graders are gonna be like, this is so repetitive, we've seen this a million times. And the other thing is, do not procrastinate it. I did all my IAs the night before. I did get good grades on them, but I don't think I cried. I think I was just numb from the feeling of really so much procrastination. I did like do the drafts and did it gradually and wrote them gradually. Then the night before, there's just something tingling inside of me that was like, I need to redo them. And I'd literally start a new Google Doc and rewrite my IAs. I don't know why I'm like that, but that's what I did and it worked out, but I don't recommend it. Last thing I'm going to dive into is TOK. I think TOK was my most dreaded part of IB, even more than the EE. It's boring. It's really boring sitting there, especially at 6 a.m. like how my school did it. Just pay attention and take good notes. Like, take really in-depth notes, because you're going to use those notes in your essay. Like, my essay was mostly my notes. Like, my entire essay was my notes, of course, like rephrased, but you really don't do any Google searches for it. But you really don't need to do any research for it. You just ask your teacher, revise, and each time ask your teacher everything, because you cannot BS a TOK essay. You just cannot. It is not something you're used to. It's a different type of speaking and knowledge. Your teacher is a pro. You have to ask them. You don't know what you're doing. Don't think you do, because it's theory of knowledge. It is so much different than anything you've done. Ask away. Do lots of revisions. And as for your presentation, 10 minutes per person. So mine was 30 minutes because I did it with 2 other people. Again, we did this the night before. Yeah, my mentor watching this, like, so I really do not recommend it. This is just coming from a place, because I actually do think I have some special power. I just pull it off somehow. Not just because I'm like wired.
Is this an advice video or a bragging video?
I'm just wired differently. No,
I'm built different. I'm built different.
But my advice is take it a little as you go, and then you're just gonna have a wonderful essay at the end. But your presentation, again, ask away. Go over the rubric, and also do not drag it out. I know it's 10 minutes per person, but don't repeat yourself. They hate that. Just don't BS it. You just gotta know your stuff, and you have to memorize, but just have the knowledge in your head, know what you're talking about, and just let it all come out. And then each of those things is based on 10 points, and then you also get a letter grade at the end, and that's part of your IB score, and you can get extra points if you get an A or a B. That was so much talking. If you see other IB advice videos, probably not even close to the same of what this is, because basically what I told you guys is that I did everything the night before. And my advice is just don't do what I did. Even though it worked for me, it just was not a good way to do everything. The thing I thank myself for doing every single day is I took my IAs seriously. If you take anything away from this, take them seriously, because they are a part of your overall grade out of 7 for each class. Choose good topics for everything. Take your time. Set up an organization method. Ask your teachers everything. Go through the rubrics.
It's all gonna be okay.
Yeah, what my sister said. And most of all, know it's all gonna be okay. Because if I did it, you can too. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good night.
But also, don't quit the minute it gets hard.
Exactly, but don't quit.
You'll know what you need to do.
Yeah, don't quit the minute it gets hard, because it will be hard. But also, your peers you guys will become a squad, and you guys will just relate together, cry together, procrastinate together, complain together.
Jealous.
Do not make things a competition. No one likes that at all. Like comparing your test grades. If you see someone struggling and just help them out. Give them tips. If it's hard for you, you are not stupid. It's designated to be hard, to push your mind. I got asked this question a lot, and it's like, if you went back in time, would you do it again? And I would say yes, because I think now I'm just shaped differently. I really do think I took away things from IB that will help me in the future and in college. The college I'm going into really takes IB credit really well. So I'm going in with 45 credits from IB and 25 from the community college. And it just turned out to be cheaper that way. Yes, you have to pay for your tests, but it's way cheaper than college. So at the end, you get IB credit and everyone is happy. I hope you guys took away something from this video, and if you guys have any further questions, don't hesitate to DM me on my Instagram, which will be right here, or just comment down below any further questions. And that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I try to upload every Sundays, so I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys next time, whenever that is. Probably Sunday. See ya!